But then in the summer of 2002, Ava met up with an old friend. She had no idea that this conversation would change the course of her life.
I thought I'd try to get into writing, and my friend worked for BBC, and she said to go to the BBC Talent website, because they do a writing competition every year, maybe write a script. But then something else caught my eye, which was the urban sketch team. They were looking for sort of comedy type people to put a sketch team together. So I thought, I'll do that.
The Urban Sketch Show happened because I felt, and BBC Talent felt, that there was great talent out in the suburbs, around London, in the country, that wasn't being tapped into.
So we kind of advertised that we were going to be looking for people who could perform comedy, write comedy, and targeted communities that we thought perhaps were less associated with us, and went into sort of, you know, Manchester and Liverpool and Bristol and around the country.
Ava forked out £50 to get to the audition in Bristol.
There were loads of people outside the front waiting for this audition, and the stupid taxi driver screeched to a halt outside, got out, opened the door for me. Everyone else was in jeans and trainers, and I was in this little denim dress and boots. And I remember thinking to myself, my God, these people must think I'm an idiot. They must just think, who the hell does she think she is? Because honestly, I just stepped out like I was the Queen or something.
And this girl gets out with a suitcase and, you know, looks really, really striking. And we really thought that she'd come to the wrong place. We thought, who's that, you know? Because you know, she looked like a model.
I didn't know how you were supposed to go for an audition. I didn't know anything about it. And the minute they opened up the centre, I was straight in the toilets. I put on jeans and trainers like everybody else.
It's always just a few that make you, you know, go, ooh, yeah.
She just blew us away. She, you know, from the get-go, when she had to do a piece on her own, just like, you know, she knew exactly what she was doing. She knew exactly what she wanted to say. She was funny. She flowed, and you know, we really knew instantly we want her back.
I'm MC Lucretia. I'm the godmother of garage.
Thousands auditioned, but Ava's natural talent and enthusiasm got her through to the final 8. They had to perform a sketch show in front of the comedy industry's bigwigs.
But you see that Miss Dynamite, yeah? You know that tune, what she had? Miss Dynamite, tee-hee. Who knows that tune? Who knows that tune? Yeah. I wrote it, man. No, I wrote it. I swear I wrote it, man. But when I wrote it, it was hardcore. It was like a proper garage tune, yeah? And I wrote it like this, yeah? Yeah, yo, who's that over there jacking my car? It's Lucretia, ha ha. Now you see the bit she stole about Dynamite, hee. She stole it, man. She's out of order.
Ava's success at the BBC encouraged her to try her hand at stand-up comedy, but she didn't have a clue how to go about it. She started by looking on the web.
So I said, oh, how do I become a stand-up comic? And it chucks up loads of websites about comic books and all kinds of stuff.
She didn't find anything there, but instead scoured the comedy section of Time Out, the London listings magazine.
I'd look through it and see, you know, where all the comedy is, and the ones at the bottom that say acts that are interested, sort of, those are the open mic nights, and you just phone up the promoter and see if they'll give you 5 minutes, which I did. And I got 5 minutes downstairs at the King's Head in Crouch End.
Ava secured a spot at the King's Head in North London. It's well known as the place for new comedy acts to perform. But before she went, she did her homework.
I was watching comedians and stuff for a while before I did it. I looked at acts, I looked at people I admired, and I'd get compilation tapes. Comedian after comedian would come out, and I'd just sit there with pen and paper, and I'd see what didn't I like about that person. And maybe could be a strut, it could be mannerisms.
Her big night finally arrived. 16 months after she left the prison service, Ava would be doing her debut gig. At first, she kept it a secret.
I hadn't told anybody what I was doing because I thought I might fail at it, so I thought if I failed, nobody needs to know about that. But then on the day, at 4 o'clock, the gig was due to start at 8. I panicked and phoned everybody I knew. I thought, well, I thought it might be worse having total strangers in the audience who've got no kind of loyalty to me whatsoever, and they don't have to laugh. I thought my friends, I could threaten them, and they would have to laugh. If I get them down there, I'd be like, you laugh, or it doesn't matter if I'm going really bad, just laugh as loud as you can.
I wouldn't even describe Ava as funny. Not at all, far from it. I think she's got quite a dry, she's sarcastic, yeah, but not funny. No.
When I did my first gig and I got nervous and I told them to all come down, they're like, don't embarrass yourself, just don't do it, you're not funny at all. They'd be like, we're sitting with you, you've never made us laugh once, so why would you do this to yourself?
Her friends were sceptical, to say the least, but her material, drawn from everyday life observations, was a great success.
I was sitting on a bus and I was sitting in the old people's bit, and I didn't want to get up. I thought if an old person gets on the bus, I'm just not getting up. And I was thinking, well, what excuse could I have?
The other day, right, I got on this bus and I was sitting in the front seat, you know, the one with a bit of leg room because I'm quite tall. And this old lady came, right, and she goes, oh, excuse me, can I have your seat? So I said, no. And then the woman had the audacity to point to a sign and she goes, this seat's for the elderly. And I went, yeah, the elderly and those with young children. And she went, I don't see any children. Where are your children? I went, at school.
She was so impressive, and it was like, wow, where did that come from? You know, you've never showed any interest in that specific type of thing before, so why now? And wow, you're good at it.
Hi, how's everyone doing?
After the success of her gig at the King's Head, Ava started getting more work at stand-up clubs across the country. But it was a juggling act to manage it all. She never dreamt that at 27 she would be studying by day, putting the kids to bed in the evening and rushing to gigs at night.
When you first start out, you have to sort of eke your way around open mic nights where you won't get paid, and even then it's still hard to get on because there's a limited number of spaces. When you get to that point of being slightly established, you're pretty much down to trawling around the country doing gigs wherever they may be. It's a pretty tough life, really, going around from sort of city to city doing gigs at 11 o'clock at night and coming back home at night.
I went to Exeter. It was terrible because there was supposed to be a guy driving from London, but it turned out he was doing a gig the night before in that area. So he told me to coach it down and then he'll drive me back to London. Anyway, it turned out he decided he couldn't be bothered to come back to London, or whatever had happened. There was like ice on the road or something. So he stayed in Exeter. I tried to get the 1 o'clock coach back to London and it was full up. And so I had to hang around until 4 in the morning. I had to come back, and I was still doing a day job. So I was really tired and I was late. It was just horrible.
After 6 months doing the circuit, she was earning about £60 a gig. She calculated that if she really wanted to pursue comedy, she might just earn enough to get by. It was time to make a decision.
I thought I can either try and study, and I was kind of tired, and with the kids as well, or I can sort of leave this for now and sort of really go for it and see. And I gave myself 18 months. And I said, if I'm not sort of working regularly and, you know, making something of it in 18 months, then I might have to rethink.
Ava really went for it and made a strong impression on the comedy world. She entered prestigious comedy competitions like the Hackney Empire's New Act of the Year, in which she came third, a remarkable achievement.